Hello there guys and welcome back to Blues Fans TV for my live review of Chelsea beating Liverpool 2-0 in the 5th round of the FA Cup. And I am absolutely buzzing. Absolutely buzzing. I mean, how good is that? I didn't see it coming. I said it in my preview, in my preview yesterday, pardon me. Forgot something. The little, what's it called? Cuff thingy that you just have in your mouth basically when you've got a bit of a sore throat, that kind of thing. Don't know the English word for it. Doesn't matter. Let's move on. Yeah, I said in my preview yesterday, I have a feeling we're going to lose, maybe on like penalties or in extra time. No, none of that. We just won in 90 minutes. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. As you can see on screen, this video is again sponsored by OneFootball. So please head into the video description down below and download the OneFootball app via that link that is there. It would help us out a lot. We'd massively appreciate it. And it's the best football app out there. So you definitely won't regret downloading it. Just download it via that link. That'd be massively appreciated. And of course, while you're on it, basically, also subscribe to Blues Fans TV if you haven't already. And drop a like on this live stream if you're happy that Chelsea managed to beat Liverpool and managed to, get to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. Also, guys, in the chat, please let me know whether everything is working fine. The image quality, audio and everything in its synced. Please let me know in the chat. And if you're new here, if you've not watched my live streams, my live review before, basically what Flem, that's the one. Cheers, Tete. Like, if you've not watched any of these before, we'll get to what you guys put in the chat towards the end of the stream. And basically first talk through what I have to say on the game. But let's just get into it. And we finally changed back to a forward-to-back formation. Thank the bloody Lord. And oh boy, oh wonder, we know how to play football again. Shocker. Absolute shocker, that. Who knew? You could play football if you have 3 men in midfield. And you don't just, force Jorginho and Kovacic together to just, be pressed to death by other teams. And I know we played some decent football in some parts against Bournemouth, but that's just when they got scared. Liverpool wouldn't have been scared today. But thank God Lampard realised that. Started in midfield 3 in a 4-3-3 formation. And it was brilliant. Kepa returned into goal. So that's good. I will talk about him, of course. Aspie was at right back. The 2 centre-backs were Antonio Rudiger, the right centre-back, and CHAOUIPRODUCTIONS as the left centre-back, and Marcos Alonso as the left-back, who, well, usually I'm not a fan of him at left-back. Was really good today. No complaints. A midfield 3 of then Blly Gilmour as the deepest of the 3. Even though Jorginho is suspended for the upcoming 3 games, Lampard basically dropped him to the bench today. Fair enough, we won. What can I say? Next to him it was Kovacic to his left and Ross Barkley to his right. And I will also talk about the injury crisis. Didn't have enough space to fit it into my title, but the injury crisis is a problem at the moment. The injury crisis is a problem. And then a front 3 of Willian on the right for the most part, Pedro on the left, and Olivier Giroud started up front. And yeah, when I saw that, I was like, okay, we don't have Reece James. We don't have Jorginho, which I don't really understand because he's suspended for the next 3 games. We have Pedro and Willian as our wingers, and we have Alonso left back. I'm nervous, but brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I mean, the first two moments of the game was first Zuma messing up and Liverpool almost scoring, and then Rudiger messing up and then Liverpool almost scoring. But after that, it was we had a good 10-15 minute period in the first half. We pressurized them and managed to create chances for ourselves. So a couple of decent chances. It ended up with Willian having an absolute blast from like 7 or 8, 9 yards. After the ball kind of just fell to him and blasted straight at Adrian. Also decent save by Adrian, to be fair. And kind of surprised that he didn't hurt his arm saving that. He managed to keep it out. Then they tried to start playing it out from the back. Well, they attempt to, basically. They put it to the right back, I think, to the centre-back, and then back to Fabinho, who was kind of like, why are you passing it to me? Tried to somehow do something with it, but kind of only managed to put it to Willian. Willian took a shot, not even a great shot. It wasn't like a crazy knuckleball. It wasn't swerving like crazy. It was pretty much just straight down the middle of the goal. But Adrian, cheers, mate. Kind of just spotted it and just fisted it into his own goal. So that was brilliant. So we took the lead in, what minute was it? Let me just check to be safe. In the 13th minute. After that, we, Liverpool got into the game a little bit more. Not straight away, but like with a couple of minutes after that. Of course, we set a little bit deeper. This was also only the 2nd game this season of all games that we had less possession than the opponent. With how much of the ball did we have? I think 42%, yeah. So Bayern was the only other game where we had less of the ball. But of course, it's different when we play a team like Liverpool, who they did a bit of rotation, but they still had a strong team in there. Okay, they played this kid Williams on the right side instead of Trent Alexander-Arnold, but they had Van Dijk, they had Robertson. Okay, they didn't have Alisson in goal, but still they had Fabinho. And they didn't have Lallana. They did have Lallana and what's the guy's name? Curtis Joe or something? Curtis Jones in midfield rather than like Henderson, who's of course injured, or Milner, who was on the bench. Naby Keita, them sorts, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. So they did rotate a bit, and up front they had Divock Origi, Minamino, and Sadio Mane. But they still fielded a strong team. And so, of course, it was expected when we take the early lead that they would have the ball a little bit more, and, you know, we kind of just like sit back a little bit. And that's what we did. And then Kepa Arrizabalaga, let me just say it properly because he deserves that today, turned into an absolute monster. I don't know what happened in the last few weeks. I don't know whether the army kind of stole him and did a bloody Wolverine to him, where they kind of just made him just like immortal and like of an inside of steel and just like, you know, steel claws out of his hands or some shit, because he turned into some crazy mofo. Like, it was ridiculous. You made like 50 million saves in the space of 2 seconds. It was insane. The ball comes into the box. Aspie kind of tries to kung fu clear kick it. Actually only clears it somewhere else in the 6-yard box. Falls to kind of Minamino. Falls to kind of Mane. Hits a straight at Kepa. But still Kepa like flying out there like a little cat. Saves it. Tries to jump after it, but then it's cleared before his hands. Falls to, I think, Origi, who has an absolute blast from maybe 10 yards or so. And Kepa, with a ridiculous save, with his arm up there, ridiculous reaction save, falls back to another Liverpool player. Again a blast. He stands strong, manages to save it again, would clear it. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, that was ridiculous. And he had a couple of other good saves in that game as well. And also, the craziest thing about Kepa is he came for high balls. He came for them. Didn't always catch them. For the most part, he actually did, though. He tried to catch them. Catch long, high balls. And Liverpool, we're not even taking the piss out of you lot. You're going to win the league, fair play. Maybe you'll even win the Champions League. Who knows? Let us just have our moment, lads. You know? Have fun winning the league. We've got nothing to do with that. We're busy having injuries. Kepa came out of his goal, caught all of the bloody crosses, caught all of the bloody shots. Late on, he still came out, but fisted it away comfortably for a throw-in. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I just hope that Lampard also starts him against Everton on the weekend. I really, really hope that, you know, he isn't like back to the bench now, because that would be really infuriating. That would be really infuriating. But let's get to the man at the moment. Let's get to the man at the moment. That is Billy Gilmour. What a guy. What a guy. And you guys know that I love Jorginho. I'm a big fan of Jorginho. But if Billy Gilmour plays like that all the time, I don't see how Jorginho is getting any minutes at this point. I mean, I know they played together when Willian got injured, but you get the point. Like, Billy Gilmour was so good. And I know I didn't put him in my team in my preview yesterday, but I spoke about, you know, considering it. I just wasn't sure whether he was quite ready to handle it. But he is. He is. Even though they had some strong players in midfield. Okay, they didn't have Henderson and Fabinho, so which would have made it a bit more physically demanding for him. But they still have Fabinho in there, and he was handling it just fine. Even mugged them off so beautifully at one point in the second half. So beautifully. He is so calm, he's so collected, he's so good on the ball. To me, he's kind of a mix of, well, Jorginho and Kovacic, really. He's not quite as good at dribbling as Kovacic, but he can do it. And he's not quite as good at dictating the play as Jorginho, but he can do it. So, and then he also has a bit of Fabregas to him and a bit of Iniesta. I guess the Iniesta bit is the Kovacic bit, because Iniesta is not quite as good at dribbling at Kovacic. But you get the point. He's brilliant. He's absolutely remarkable. And he even had to play 2 different positions in today's game. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. He's so bloody good. But yeah, I mean, for the rest of the first half, it was on and off and on and off. We had a chance, they had a chance. It was a brilliant and entertaining game to watch. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, Rudiger got spun half the bloody time anyone got ever anywhere near him. Zuma barred a sloppy moment early on. Brilliant, I thought. Brilliant. Giroud has his moments. Really good target man today. All the other things that he's meant to do as a striker, not so good today. But we'll get to that. Because we go into the second half. And firstly, we have an injury in the first half, actually, that I have to mention. Because Kovacic, just before the break, picks up an injury. Don't know what kind of injury it was. Don't know whether it was precautionary. Don't know whether he'll be out for long or anything. I just pray to God he won't be. But Mason Mount came on to replace him, which of course wasn't brilliant. So that was just before half time. Going into the second half, 5 minutes into the second half, Willian goes down injured. Brilliant. Another injury, another substitution. This time Jorginho comes on for Willian, meaning Mason Mount goes out to the left, meaning Pedro goes over to the right. And it turned from a 4-3-3 into more of a 4-2-3-1. In the first half, it was a clear 4-3-3, kind of a flat 4-3-3, with just interchanging from the lot of them. Sometimes Barkley pushed the eyes, sometimes Kovacic, sometimes even Gilmour, and sometimes Barkley was the deepest of the 3. So, you know, it was a proper 4-3-3. In the second half, it was more of a 4-2-3-1 with Jorginho and Gilmour more next to each other, with Jorginho sitting a bit more than Billy, and Billy moving a bit more, and Barkley being more of a proper number 10. But yeah, And then we still created chances. And then out of nowhere, in the 64th minute, Ross Barkley turned into, I don't even know who that was. Ruben? That's what I imagine Ruben doing. I think it was a long ball from either a defender or the goalkeeper. Either Pedro or Giroud flicked it on. Falls to Barkley just inside their own half. He goes on a run. He just runs and runs and runs. Cuts across Fabinho, who was already booked, so he couldn't really tackle him. Pedro is making a great red run on the right-hand side, and I'm like, pass it, Barkley, pass it. I don't know where. Barkley shoots, goal 2-0, boom. What? Ross Barkley, is that you? I mean, if you can do that all the bloody time, please do. Don't be like your usual shit self. Be like this. Be like today, because that was brilliant for the most part, especially that goal. Brilliant strike, brilliant run, absolutely perfect. Couldn't ask for any more than that. Absolutely perfect. And Pedro, credit where credit is due. If he doesn't make that run on the right, Barkley isn't allowed to shoot because then more defenders will close in on him. So Pedro, credit where credit is due, hard working. Not long after that, Pedro's basically played through on a counter-attack, and a bit like Torres was at the Camp Nou when he made it 2-1 against Barcelona in 2012. Basically played through. Pedro sprinting like the little old man that he is, with his little feet, that looks really quick, but then you see other players running and you see, oh, he's actually really, really slow, which I keep saying, but some people don't realise it. I mean, the guy's almost as bloody slow as Jorginho. I mean, I know Van Dijk is quick, but still Van Dijk caught up and Gomez caught up and some other defender caught up and then even bottled the finish. And I know he went on a 60, 70 yard sprint from our own half and he's already 32 or whatever he is, but he basically dropped dead and he couldn't even put any power on the ball. It looked like he tried to meg Adrian, but it didn't work because Adrian got his feet together and just easily saved it. So that could have been 3-0. And to be honest, Liverpool didn't have that much more from that. No big chance. I mean, Kepa made a couple of saves and we had a couple of moments where we just had to defend. But we're still playing, whether they lost today and they lost on a weekend or not, the best team in the country and probably the best team in the world. We still kept them from doing pretty much anything. I mean, let me just go to the stats. How many shots on target did they have in total? 5. And we had 7. And I mean, 50 million of those 5 were already in the one situation that Kepa had. So that was 3. And one other save was in the first half, so I'm not even sure whether they had one. Either they had one or none in the second half. I can't remember it from the top of my head right now. But second half, we totally dominated them. Unlike usual, when we take the lead at half-time, before half-time, and we go into the second half and bottle it. Today, we didn't bottle it. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. And then we had another moment through Olivier Giroud where he's through, and then he kind of messes up his first touch, but still somehow manages to shoot. Actually hits a brilliant shot, and I was like, it's flying top corner, I can celebrate 3-0. And then Adrian gets a tiny, tiny fingertip on it. Direct it onto the bar. It, bounces back down, but not just outside of the goal line, so didn't even need goal line technology or anything. It was just clearly not a goal. And I was fuming in the first moment. I'm like, Giroud, get out of my club, never start again. Worst finish I've ever seen. And he should have done better with the first touch and actually shoot with his right foot and score. Should have done. But he didn't. His shot with the left foot was still good. It took a brilliant save by Adrian. And we still won 2-0. So how harsh can I really be? And then later on, we made a last substitution as Reece James came on for Giroud in the last minute, as in the 90th minute, just to secure it up for injury time, which was good. We managed to hold on. And Kepa got a clean sheet today. I know I said in my last review, it's not the reason why Kepa or Caballero plays why we keep clean sheets or not. And I still stand by that. The fact that we play a back 4 with a 3-man midfield helps the defence, in my opinion, strongly. Also, Zuma played, which is good. I still prefer Zuma next to Christensen or Tomori than Rudiger, because Rudiger was, in my opinion, our worst player today. And he wasn't even shocking. But he just looked shaky and got spun way too many times. While Zuma looked pretty comfortable for the most part. But Rudiger struggled at times. Aspie also struggled at times, actually. Aspie got done by Origi a few too many times and way too easily. Especially when you see it in other moments, Jorginho defending a 1-on-1 or Billy defending a 1-on-1, and then both doing much, much better at it than Aspie did, who was just led, just mucked off way too easily in some parts. But yeah, let's talk about the team. Kepa, brilliant. Is he back? I hope so. Let's hope he can start against Everton as well. And, get another brilliant performance under his belt, because that today, I'm sure, was an absolute massive confidence booster for him that he really, really needs. I don't want to tell Kepa, if he can be a really good goalkeeper like he was tonight, why sell him? I think we made a big investment in him. We gave him a 7-year contract when we signed him, let's not forget. And we would lose a lot of money on him. I think there's a great goalkeeper in him. He's only 25 years of age. There's still a lot to learn. I still think we need to change around the goalkeeping coach department. Get rid of Hilario, possibly. Get Christophe Lolly-Shaw back, a former goalkeeping coach who was coach of Petr Cech. He's still at the club, but in a different role. make him that role again, because he worked so brilliantly well for Petr Cech. And even though goalkeeping was slightly different to today, he can still work on like his passing and playing with his feet with the normal part of the team. It doesn't necessarily have to be coached that part by the goalkeeping coach. You know, the passing out, it's just long balls. You can learn that with the rest of the team. It's really not that big a deal. But the goalkeeping part of it, coming for long balls, coming for high balls, catching them, when to come, when to stay, and stuff like that. You know, I think a lot of a good goalkeeper is in Kepa. He's a bit short, that's his problem. But other than being short, I think there's a brilliant goalkeeper in him. Zuma today, you know, fair play. Zuma today, fair play. That's why I wanted him to start. Wanted him to start against next to Tomori, but that's why I wanted him to start. Brilliant. Spoke about Aspen Ridiger and Alonso today. Fair play. You guys know I don't like him at left back. I think he's a liability. And I think he can't help us out in attack as much as he usually does in a wing back position. And he didn't do it much in attack today, but he was defensively good. He wasn't like outstanding, but he was defensively good. He didn't really get caught much with his lack of pace. Even against Mane, he did okay. He did good. His passing was decent. Under pressure, he was okay. He just held his own today. And fair play to Alonso. If you can play like that, fair play. I still want a new left back. So obviously talk about Alex Telles. I still want Alex Telles. But Alonso, fair play. You know, I'm not going to slate him. You know, I slate Alonso quite a lot. But I try to be objective, not subjective. And I try to be fair. And in my opinion, if someone's bad, I will say they're bad. And in my opinion, if someone's good, I will say they're good. And that was the case for Alonso today. I spoke about Blly Gilmour, absolute star. Remember his name. Remember his name. I really hope that he gets a few more chances this season. Kovacic was quieter than usual today. Looked a bit tired as well. No surprise. Played so many games. Also Jorginho. The fact that he was dropped, maybe he was just tired as well. Because mind you, he has started every single game since we won away at Arsenal. And then he came on in the first half after like half an hour. So he started so many games in a row. And I know he had the winter break in there. But still, he started so many games. So even though he's suspended for the next few games, maybe he was just so dead and tired that it just wasn't the right move to start him today. You know, some people love Jorginho, some people hate him, some people don't want him to start, were happy that he was on the bench, some people were fuming. Maybe that was good reason for Lampard not to start him. I don't know. I don't know if we will now. Kovacic getting injured is, of course, a major problem. You know what I mean? We go into the game against Everton not having our 3 starting midfielders. We don't have Kovacic, we don't have Jorginho, who's suspended, and we don't have N'Golo Kante. That's a problem. Yeah, Blly Gilmour can start. Yeah, Barkley and Mount can start. But bloody hell, that's a problem. It's a serious problem. I mean, play Christensen in midfield, maybe. Who knows? It's a serious problem. It is a serious... And no, I mean, I love Fabregas, but don't disrespect Gilmour like that. I mean, okay, a young Fabregas maybe, but Gilmour is much better at dictating playing defensively than Fabregas ever was and ever will have, like ever will be. Obviously, almost retiring. But, you know, Fabregas was never as good defensively and as hard working as Blly Gilmour is. So, you know, some part of his game is like Fabregas, not like... You know, and some of it is much better. And then obviously his passing isn't quite as good because Fabregas was arguably one of the best passers in history of football, which sounds ridiculous, but it's actually kind of true. But yeah, that is a problem for Everton. We'll have to talk about that in my preview on Friday. Might actually be out on Saturday. Watch out for that. But yeah, let's come on to the wingers. Willian scored. Should have scored 2 minutes before or 30 seconds before, but scored in the end. Fair play. Even though it took Adrian to make an absolute howler, he scored. Fair play, and he was generally, I thought, good. Played a couple of good crosses where people should have been on the end of. There was one moment he played a great cross, 1-on-1, goes past his man, puts in a great cross, and Giroud is just, I said cover the far post, but he was like way beyond the far post and no one was in the middle. Don't know how Giroud got there, but And as for Ruben Tilsetso, sorry if I butchered your name, mate. Yeah, but he played his first full 90 minutes ever since coming back from injury for the under-23s yesterday. He was okay, but he wasn't like anything brilliant. You know, he won the penalty that won us the game 1-0 in the end, but it wasn't like, he didn't like stand out as the crazy, by far the best player out of all of them. He's not quite ready. I hope he can be on the bench against Everton and come on and give his first, get his first minutes for the first team and make his comeback, but you shouldn't start him, in my opinion. Pedro, as soon as he touches the ball, he's shocking. But his work rate today was ridiculous. I would really love to see his stats. How many sprints he did, how much the percentage of distance covered sprinted, because he sprinted so much, and generally his distance covered must have been ridiculous today. There was a couple of moments in the first half. It was played through with a gorgeous ball by Ross Barkley. I will mention Ross Barkley in a second, don't worry. Gorgeous ball by Ross Barkley. He took it down really well, Pedro did, but his second touch messed it up. And then another moment where, in a similar position, just is through on the left, and then isn't sure, do I shoot, do I pass? And then he's too slow, and then he waits too long, tries to pass, it's intercepted, frustrating. And also, you know, that 1-on-1, I know he was tired and it was a long sprint, but he has to score those. But his work rate today was absolutely top-notch. Similar with Giroud. Didn't really work for him when he was on the ball. Should have done a bit better for the goal that was saved, but still a good shot and a great save in the end. But his hold-up play was brilliant today. Whether it was Van Dijk, whether it was Gomez, whether it was Fabinho, he held his own against all of them, and he was absolutely brilliant at that part of the game. That's not mainly what I want from a striker, but it worked today, and he was good overall. Ross Barkley, I have to mention him as well. You know, I'm genuinely a critic of him, a harsh critic of him. I think he can't do much. I think his footballing brain isn't good enough, quick enough to play at this level, at Chelsea's level, at the level I want Chelsea to be at. But today, he was good. Sometimes he still messes it up on the ball, which is sometimes where the footballing brain just seems to be overcomputing. Trying so hard to do it right. I had that feeling last season on Osari as well. He tries so hard to do everything right because I think he so badly wants to get it right and have a good career at Chelsea. I think he really, I like the kid, right? I say kid, he's much older than me. Is he? He's older than me anyways. But I like him. But he's just not quite good enough. And he looks like he's trying so hard. And sometimes he's kind of trying too hard a little bit. And it's disappointing for him. It's frustrating. But there was another moment today, that pass to Pedro in the first half. That goal, brilliant run, brilliant shot, brilliant goal. But also, and I have to give him credit for that today, a lot of his movement off the ball was absolutely beautiful and was absolutely gorgeous and allowed a lot of space and made a lot of space for Pedro on the right, or Willian on the Pedro on the left, Willian on the right, Giroud. He allowed a lot of space for them with really smart runs and movement. Not necessarily on the ball, but just moved smart. And also his physical presence today was really helpful. Because if we had, like, say we started Mount instead of Barkley in that position today, I think we would have lacked a little bit of physicality that sometimes we needed. And he was good today. Brilliant. Okay, brilliant is an overstatement, but he was good today. So I was happy with Ross Barkley in that sense. Mount came on and was okay. Still struggles in the final third to get his passes right and his shooting right. And it was good. And now we've played Liverpool 3 times this season. Drew them once in 90, drew them once in extra time, and then lost on penalties. Were arguably the better team in that pretty even game. Lost to them in the league. Were we the better team? Arguably. It was, I would say, an even game that, again, would have deserved the draw probably the most. And then today, we were the better team. They had chances in the first half, and if they take those chances, they equal it to 1-1, and then we probably end up losing the game. But we had a goalkeeper that stood firm and saved the chances. And they, today, because they did rotation and didn't have Alisson in goal, we don't score our first goal if Alisson isn't goal. That's for sure. We had the goalkeeper today that saved us. They had a goalkeeper that bottled it for them. And then in the second half, we absolutely annihilated them. We were so much better. We didn't score enough from it. We should have won that game comfortably in the second half, 3 or 4-0, comfortably. And that would have looked lovely. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We're into the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. We knocked out the strongest opponent in the competition. Yes, I know Manchester United is still in there, and Arsenal is still in there, and Spurs is still in there. I don't know. There's still good teams there for Man City, of course. Well, we can beat all of those. Liverpool with their best team, which they didn't feel today, but with their best team and on their day, like I said in my preview yesterday, they're the only team I don't see us beating. Everyone else I think we can beat. Not saying we will beat on every occasion, because we can beat Man City and lose to Man City just as regularly as we can lose to Watford, or as we can lose to Norwich, or as we can lose to Newcastle. It doesn't matter. We're so inconsistent. Who knows? But we can beat all of the others. So let's go and win the FA Cup now. Why not? Click the I button up there. There's a poll. Do you think we can win the FA Cup? Who do you think was the man of the match? Pretty obvious that it's going to be Billy Gilmour, isn't it? But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it here, guys. I'm going to answer a couple of things that you guys put in the chat. Would anyone want to risk starting Loftus-Cheek or bring him on in the second half? Sunday, feel like the second one's a safer option for us. Bring him on with like 30 to 20 minutes to go, depending on the result as well. I wouldn't start him. I think that's way too risky. That's way too risky. But yeah, guys, if you have any questions or anything you want me to talk about, put it in the chat. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to Blues Fans TV. Also download the OneFootball app. The link is down in the description below. Lampard in, Kepa in, Barkley in, Pedro in, Caballero out. Please don't be first choice anymore. Pedro in is a bit far. Barkley in is also a bit far. The other two I agree. How about Bayern? I don't know. We'll see whether it takes place with the coronavirus stuff. We should only use the 3-4-3 against Sheffield and Wolves. This means could match them. I agree, and Mourinho, because Mourinho seems to be incapable of understanding how easy it is to beat. Thank you for reminding me of that. Thank you for reminding me of that. Do you see why I keep telling everybody stop playing 3-4-3 and play 4-3-3? I actually said it at the start. We finally managed to play football again. Thank the bloody Lord. It was beautiful to watch. We had triangles, we had movement. We had triangles to pass our way around. We managed to pass our way out of pressure. And that's not because of the personnel. Because we had Alonso in the team. We had Zuma in the team. You know, we had Barkley in the team. and we still managed to pass ourselves out of pressure situation. It's the system, it's the formation. You know, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And the midfield cries at Everton, play Gilmour, Barkley and Mount. What else are you going to do? You're going to have to. Or you play Christensen in midfield. But I would just go with Gilmour, Barkley and Mount. And then play Willian and Pedro on the wing, unless Hudson-Odoi or Pulisic is fit, which would be very surprising, especially in Pulisic's case. We know nothing about Hudson-Odoi's, recovery, nothing. But just play that. I think that's kind of the best situation. You would have to start Blly against Everton. Would you sell Kepa? Well, no. Generally, no, but we'll have to wait and see how he does for the rest of the season. If Lampard refuses to play him now again and only uses him in a cup, then what's the point? But yeah, should we have put Batshuayi on for Giroud in the second half? He looked so exhausted. Yeah, well, to some extent. But Batshuayi wouldn't have been any better, and Giroud, even 2 minutes before he came on, still won a header against Van Dijk, so he still was helpful. Great win on individual performances, but these injuries are beyond worrying. Yes, that is something I need to touch on as well. It is a problem, and it's not as easy as saying, oh, we're getting unlucky. This is too many now. I mean, okay, Ruben got injured last season, but all the other injuries at this point, maybe Kante could count still from last season, that is carrying over, even though it's not the same injuries. But Kante, Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi, Kovacic, Willian, Emerson has had loads of injuries this season. Reece James has had a couple of injuries this season. Okay, it was more from last season, and he kind of knocked it again, that same ankle. Tammy Abraham is out injured. You know, it's a serious problem, and we need to, possibly Frank Lampard needs to look at his medical staff and his fitness staff, because we need to look at it. Will we make top 4? I don't know, guys. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Every time we drop points, I'm like, oh, it's screwed. And then everyone bottles it again around us. You know, like United, even though they got saved by VAR, in my opinion, that was a wrong decision for that Everton goal not to stand. I mean, arguably, a draw between Wolves and Spurs would have been even better. But still, Spurs dropping points and are still being 3 points clear of 5th. So, you know, what are you saying? I'm not saying who. I didn't say don't start Kepa. I'm not sure if you're talking about me or someone else. Alonso, Rudiger, Kepa were brilliant today. I don't agree that Rudiger was brilliant. Double. John Terry has won the double. Yes, brilliant. I don't know who you're laughing at, Jacob. I don't know who you support. Don't know why you're saying ha 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 all the time. Just want me to get rid of you. Would that just? I just removed one message now. That was a bit pointless, wasn't it? I guess I just put that. Don't know. But yeah, guys, I think I'm going to leave it there. I've been going for 27 minutes already. Yeah, let's leave it at that. I think this has been quite good. It's just been absolutely brilliant. What a win by the Shells today. What a win. Let's just hope we can continue in good form now. In good form and beat Everton. You know, finally get another... Well, I say finally win 2 Premier League games in a row. Can't, because we didn't beat Bournemouth. But let's beat Everton. Let's beat Villa after that. It'd be brilliant. We don't have a midweek game next week. By the week after that, if the coronavirus allows it. Obviously, the Valencia-Atalanta game next week has been called off. Or not called off, but it will be taking place with exclusion of the public, so without fans. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there, which I'd be fuming about because I'm going to Munich. But yeah, I'm going to leave it here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank all of you for tuning in. And like I said in the beginning, and as you can see on screen, this video is sponsored by OneFootball. So please go down into the video description below and download the OneFootball app via that link. It is the best football app out there. So if you could download it, that would be massively appreciated because it helps us out a lot. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Blues Fans TV. Drop a like on this live stream if you enjoyed it. Drop a like on this video if you're watching this at a later point. And if you are watching it at a later point, leave me your thoughts on the game down in the comment section below. I appreciate all of you guys that have tuned in. Thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea. And I'll see you when I see you.